Hi everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Flopdoodle Chloe Bean Spark team. Today we're going to learn the trick to hide in a suitcase, and in just a moment I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to train your dog. But first I want you to see what the trick looks like when it's done. All right, Chloe, hide. Yes, good job, Chloe. Okay, so now we're ready to learn the jump and hide in a suitcase trick. So the first thing we're gonna teach our dogs is to become comfortable by simply getting in the suitcase. You can do this one of two ways. The first way you can do it is by throwing a treat in the suitcase and hoping your dog jumps in after it, or by luring the dog in with the treat and releasing the treat and saying yes when the dog is in the suitcase. I'm gonna use the second way and show you how that's done. All right, we're gonna lure her in. Yes, as soon as all four paws are in, we're gonna treat them and tell them that they've done a good job. Good girl. And I'm gonna lure again. In. Yes. And as soon as they're in the correct position, you wanna give them the treat. Remember not to give them the treat when they've jumped out. You wanna reward them while they're in the position that you've asked them to be in. So again, we're gonna lure the dog in the suitcase. Yes. And give them the treat while they're still in the suitcase. All right, the next thing we're gonna do after the dog is much more comfortable with that is we're gonna teach them to jump in the suitcase and get in a down position. Because obviously when they're hiding in the suitcase with the lid closed, they're gonna wanna be in a down position. So once she's in the suitcase, I'll use the trick down, which your dog will probably already know, down. Yes. As soon as they get in the down position, you're gonna wanna reward them with saying yes and the treat. Good girl. Now you can throw a treat to get them to come out of the suitcase so that you can train them again. In, yes, down, yes. Very good, Chloe. All right, once they're comfortable with hopping in the open suitcase and getting in the down position, we're gonna get them used to the lid coming towards them. Sometimes that's a little intimidating for a dog, so we're just gonna practice while giving lots and lots of treats. You might wanna do this over the course of a few days, or if your dog is catching on really quickly, you can also add practicing closing the lid on the same day. So we're gonna add that in now. Good girl. So while I'm giving her a treat, I'm gonna close it just so she can see it. Yes, good girl. And I'm gonna do that as long as she's comfortable. You don't wanna scare the dog because you know once you've scared the dog, they will be much more reluctant to try the trick. Down, yes, down, good, yes, good girl. So she's very aware that the suitcase lid is closing over her head, and she's showing me that she's very comfortable with that. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is show you how to get them to get in and hold their stay while the lid is closed. So you can do this one of two ways. The first way I'm gonna show you is it works fine for little dogs. The second way might be a little bit more effective for a bigger dog. So for Chloe, wait just a second, come here. Good girl, wait. So for Chloe, I close the lid. Chloe, come here. I close the lid over the suitcase, creating a lip. So this lip is gonna make it a lot easier for Chloe to lift it up and get in. So what I'm gonna do, wait, I'm gonna open it, I'm gonna drop a treat in, she sees me do it, and I'm gonna say, get it. And she's gonna wanna lift that lid up and get that treat. So that's the first step. If she does get in all the way, you can say yes, and give her another treat. All right, come. So right now we're just working on adding the element of lifting open that lid to get inside the suitcase. You can also lure the dog in and help them down if they're a little bit more reluctant to lift the suitcase lid. So don't be afraid, come. Don't be afraid to help them out at first if they're not entirely comfortable with lifting that lid themselves. You can always help them out. Yes, good girl. And this works for both the small and big dogs. Come. But eventually what you're gonna wanna do, for the smaller dogs, they can simply lift the lid and get in themselves. However, a bigger dog might flip the lid backwards. So we're gonna show you a secret to getting that to not happen for you. All right, Chloe, good job. Okay, so you're gonna wanna take your suitcase and you're gonna zip the sides very slightly. So the lid should open very well, but it's gonna not flip backwards. So you can see that this is zipped enough that even if we try and lift it, the dog can still get in, but it's not going to prohibit them from getting in and it will not flip backwards on them. So it'll work even for your small dog, but it'll work particularly well for your bigger dogs too. So once they hop in, you're gonna wanna make sure they go down. Yes, and you can treat them when they're in the down position. Good girl, in. So your dog will know stay or wait, likely going into teaching this trick. And so, okay, you can go ahead and add some longevity to that. Another thing you can do, down, is you can hold the treat, yes, and after just a few seconds, give them the treat so that they don't have to wait to get the treat when they've jumped out. However, that can take some time. So you might want to treat them while they're in the suitcase, and then after a while, once they're completely used to the trick, you can have them jump out before they get their reward. All right, so once again, just to review, the first thing you're gonna do is teach your dog to get comfortable by luring them in. Yes, as soon as all 4 paws are in, you're gonna go ahead and give them the treat. Second, you're gonna ask them to go down. Yes, as soon as they're in the down position, you reward them with the treat. Next, you're gonna practice closing the lid. Make sure they can see it and that they're not scared of it. And I'm just holding the treat in my hand and letting her have it while I am lowering the lid. Then after that step, good girl. After that step, you're gonna want to practice with them going into with the lid closed. So if they're excited to do it themselves, that's fine. But if you need to help them by lifting a little bit, that's fine too. And then you're gonna add having them jump in. Wait, just to get the Chloe. Wait. Just to get the treat. Okay, in. Oh, and her collar's a little caught on there. Go in. Yes. And finally, you're gonna ask them, come, to do the whole trick. Now, if you need to zip up the side so that the suitcase lid does not flip back on your dog, because they're not gonna be able to lift it back onto themselves usually very well, come. Then we'll add that in. All right, very good, Chloe, in, down. Yes. Now I have a peekaboo dog. She likes to sneak a peek when she's in her suitcase. Most people find it adorable. If you don't, you can ask for your dog to give you a head down so that they're hidden completely in the suitcase. But for Chloe, we love seeing her peek out. So, final trick, in, down, in. Yes. All right, thanks a lot for joining us today.